happens inside the church.
So, okay, what would be, could you give us a glimpse into what inside operationally would look in terms of difference from what we have been exposed to? Because, and we're saying this now, because you see the women who listening, MBU want support now, And the man them too,
Yeah, the king man.
Yeah, the king man them
very
too.
supportive.
But
Brothers
this
are
is something that's going to
supportive.
be driven by women.
Women.
And
yeah.
as usual, if they are dear, we are dear too. So we're trying to put the notion out now that perhaps the time is now for the reconstruction of the African female in her divinity. But we need healing.
Yeah.
And there need to be a recognition of the trauma.
Yes.
Because if you don't recognize the damage, there can be no healing. And that now could be painful.
Very painful, but you have systems that are set up, so we can deal with that. I have no fear of that at all.
Right. Tell us about fear, because that's part of the difficulty that we face.
Yeah, fire me, So let me just deal with the system of the church first. Let me be clear. When I was told a church, I cringed because the concept of the Christian faith for me, is insultive to my African ancestry and identity. So when it first came, but then I realized I am church because I am divine, and that's all it is. That is the essence of it.
Yeah,
okay. You come in and the place is cleansed, of course. You come in, you have an altar in a Christian church. In African spiritual systems, you have a shrine which holds all the energy, and it is ancestral as well as, nature, which is for me goddess. There are no shoes in the church. No shoes in the church.
Okay.
You couldn't defile the space with shoes. There is no gum. No. You also wouldn't come as you feel, because there is a vetting process, because all that energy needs to be contained. And all the games that I see taking place generally with the mother, they're not welcome in the church at all, that I'd be developing. You would be coming there seriously, coming, oh, no problem. And I'm setting up a spiritual system, that is very transparent. So, no problem. Come there and pretend you can get hurt, because it's which is anything you do. It's not really about church alone. Anything you do, once you're pretending.
So would you have texts like how they have a Bible in the Christian church? Would you have literature that people
no, only when we're singing songs, words for songs. We're drumming, we're singing, we're dancing, we're affirming, we're praying, we are shouting and screaming, we are Baal, we are Kos. We are in peace. We are doing deep breathing. We are meditating. It's a process. It's a journey. I'm giving out what people might consider to be a sermon, but me does I talk to the queen them from whatever energy I pick up for that particular session. We are also eating together, because when you are cleansing and releasing, that's what I love about African healing, or traditional healing of traditional nations, including English. When you're dealing with the traditional systems, you are releasing and building simultaneously.
Right, like breathing in and out.
So you must be nourished. So food is important. So you see, it's a very, it takes a lot of energy, and it needs a lot of support, although it's very simple. It will look very simple.
Is there any sort of
assistance,
economics attached to this church?
Yes.
Yes,
it will be a business. I'm not frightened of saying that. Yes.
Okay, because people are very weary nowadays about when people say church.
Yeah, it will be a business. There will be a business aspect to it, because there has to be. Because the tools of the trade alone, like fresh plants, the grounds need to be maintained around the space. So, the white cloths, the healing materials, the roots, these all have to be paid for. Yeah? And
okay.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a base in Portland? Or are you looking for a site?
I am so open to where spirits say it's there, then I decide there, whether
So,
I like it or not.
listeners, you see, if you're in tune with the reasoning and the possibilities there to support, by the way, you have a number or some
I
digits?
have a number.
Why don't you run those numbers off that the persons who are listening can make a note in case they want to
Okay.
support you?
The numbers are 568. I think 568. Sorry, let me check before. Just a minute, please.
Yes. So we're in studio here with Mbeyu. Mbeyu is
Oh no, me did have to switch
traveling,
it
a traveling African who is now in Jamaica, and she has arrived at a position in her own life where she, in Jamaica, we say you're calling.
Yeah.
She kind of arrived at what is her calling, and her calling is about the reconstruction of African people, and the healing is what she is concentrating on.
Okay.
So
I've got
you want,
the
yeah,
number.
you have those digits for us?
I have it. 5680136.
568
80136. And the other number is 328-5575. But I haven't charged that phone yet, but me I go charge it soon. So either number you can get in touch with me directly.
Any email links?
Not at the
Not
moment.
at the moment.
Not at the moment. But what I want to say is, sistering out there and to the king men, the only information I have is that it's going to happen. How and where, I don't know. So yes, I need a lot of assistance from all disciplines, clean disciplines. I need a lot of assistance. Whether it's just verbal, whether it's legal, because the church will have to be registered with the name and all kind of something. So I need assistance on every single level that there is. So I'm really open to and looking forward to what Spirit has in mind to bring me. And those people are there, those vessels are there. Yeah, they're there. So,
Well, you know, it's about energy, positive, gathering, and we need these type of centers, I think, in this. You see, healing is something I think we sort of think about pharmaceutical industries when we talk about healing. We have been kind of conditioned to go buy drugs. Well, the chick thing started sending us forward into the plants again. A more natural way of resolving it, but we have to go even deeper now because we don't just want to solve virus. We want to heal.
Yeah.
Want to heal issues that are deep in our psyche. And as MBU says, yes, it hurts.
It hurts.
It's a hurt. It's a hurt. And I think we're very good as a people at pretending that we're not hurt.
And can I just say to people, because I don't want to give people the idea that we are just healing the wounds of enslavement. We are healing the wounds, of displacement, of fear, confusion, of present day family life, the breakdown of the family, of wayward children, of children that we've hurt, of our parents that have hurt. We're healing the whole game, and it's a slow process. The church offers a space for the initial process. And can journey with people up to a certain point, and then they move on to another pasture, another level of healing. Okay, so there's individual counseling and things like that I do, that I specialize in, as well as intuitive cleansing and all kind of stuff.
You see, people, Portland is a kind of special place, you know. It is a starting point for enough things in Jamaica. There's another issue about sustenance in Portland. So I think the thing will start here. Whether Portland will sustain it or you may have to take it somewhere else, we're not so sure yet.
Whoa.
But I think it's a powerful moment. It's a powerful idea. And, you know, sometimes people may limit the capacity of the thought process, you know. But ideas move the world.
Absolutely.
And I think where we are now in 2014, as black people who are a bit distraught now. Nothing seems to be providing any answers. The Pope come and said Genesis don't work anymore. And we're hearing things now that we've been holding on to 500 years, and it's just not the answer. So we need a different approach to the solution.
The original approach.
The natural approach.
Collective healing, the original approach.
So it's a site that is important, because we need to have a site to rally around. And the church seems to be the framework that we are familiar with. Mm-hmm. Just like what goes on inside the church now needs a little upgrading, and MBU is offering that remodel. And it's not a new model, it's an ancient model.
Yeah, absolutely. What goes around comes around.
And we are here to resurrect again. And we want those who are listening and are able to link up with Styles FM, link up with Metamorphosis, link up with Sister Empress MBU. And in our journey through time, we'll reconnect again and see what has been the feed forward. Final words, MBU? Want to give us a shot?
Yeah, the church isn't limited. I'm an empowerment, personal development specialist. You know, it's not limited. Yeah, I have a lot of skills, just like all you sistering out there. So I don't want it to be, it's diverse, it's very creative, and it's very dynamic, which reflects African people and woman as a whole, because she's extremely creative. So it's not limited to just, you know, you come, and we won't be singing any hymns, by the way, or anything like that.
Yes, yeah, maybe sing some hers rather than some hymns.
We're going to chant to some hers.
Yeah.
But yes, please, assistance, spread the word, assistance and support and know-how. Yes, please. And
you know, I have this great criticism of the African woman who's upon progressing when we talk about divinities and prayers. We kind of get locked up into this Father God above talk,
I know.
We get locked into praying to him. And we get locked into a masculine perception of the creators. Yeah. Well, you see, in the 70s, when I started to get out of this thing in a serious way, I realized that there must be a godmother, a mother God. Not a godmother do them trick way, no. A mother God. And then now, when I was searching for the mother God now, I was being told that, well, godmother is already Mary. And I'm saying, no, that is Jesus' mother. What about the God, no, who them say is a him? Where is his woman? How come we don't get training into the divinity of the goddess? Because that is, I think that's a handicap in our approach.
You know, Kingman, since we have refused our power, we are educated by those who dominated us. We don't want any power, so we have nothing to, we're now not talk.
We don't want it no more.
We don't, no, but you understand. No,
yes, I know
what
I mean.
So we have to put things into perspective, yes?
Yeah.
Let's say African women, yes? She has no reason to talk about the goddess because she isn't one to her own self. So it doesn't make sense. You can't, you can't put the cat before the ass.
Okay.
Yeah, so, it doesn't matter what you say that we need. Yeah, and that I say, because the people them are going to make the thing. So you can be saying, we need liberation as an African people, yeah? But just like what Garvey went through, the other brother said, no, I'm selfish. And that's what they voted for. So we have to be realistic and just say that these things are necessary, yeah? But we don't necessarily, want them now.
Okay. So we need a schedule, a time schedule. Because we need these things,
Yeah, I know, because they are our breath.
Maybe right now the priority is on money.
Well,
as the greatest need.
I think it's on any fashion that's flung to us, really.
Anything,
because Christmas is here. So, that's another one. It's anything. I mean, chikungunya I've been hearing about, non-stop. That's all I hear. Pick you, because it's a form of
distraction still,
We can't get a little attention because you understand? They have to work with the thing, you know. Farrakhan worked with it, and he's got a Break Big Nation now. You know, when he started, he says to you, he has to speak to us like children. He tells you that. I personally found him very condescending because I was deep into African history at the time, so I passed that space. But when we look upon it, he has to go that way. Yes? Because we're
still in that infantile stage.
Yeah, so, you know, when you're saying to a wounded child that is hungry, they need to eat. That them need fiddle. And that's all they can think. Yeah.
True.
There we go. Okay.
Metamorphosis, giving thanks to MBU.
Yes.
Of course, I want to heal all those who are listening to the Metamorphosis. Christina, Rastris, people in the Facebook world, people right here in Port Antonio, Dirks, long time I don't see the eye, heal up the man, Patrick, Bongo John up there in Breastworks, and Sir D and the Roman our crew and Titchfield Hill. Hail to the people in St. Mary. in Gale and Rosend and all those nice places that are in the parish of St. Mary. Hail the people in St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, and this fair land of Damrock. And a special hail to the people in cyberspace connected to SADS FM, Facebook. They are at Doc Iman Black on the Yahoo on the Facebook. And of course, to the ones who are listening, I hope you are fully inspired and motivated to challenge your own fears. Metamorphosis.
Oh, Mom, can't you see what they are doing to you all?
Lines are also open. You can give me a link at 453-1444, or you're on the international system. 954 is the area code, 338-7973. If you feel like you want to add or subtract, multiply or divide your thoughts, share them on the Metamorphosis. Do we need a healing church for the African woman? Do we need a special healing church to heal the trauma of our hard experiences? Outside of the Christendom, of course. Outside of Christendom.
Can't you see what they are doing to you all?
Yes, Metamorphosis continues, and we make a shift from the discourse in females and African people and our resolution to heal ourselves into another arena. This arena now is an area that the African people were basically given a free hand into it. We were actually turned loose into this particular arena because this arena is non-threatening. In this arena, the males were concentrated and focused. So, if we look at this thing now and decide in our own selves and our own thinking, how, as black people, we fit into this 2014 world scenario. And to get a proper understanding of our present, a sort of review of how the thing was is crucial. We are familiar with the Emancipation Declarations of 1834, 1838 in Jamaica. We are familiar with the apprenticeship of the population, all African people being called apprentices. We were socially trained to receive awards, and we were told that rewards are not good enough. Rewards must be our end result in heaven. So we're not socialized to acquire money. We're socialized to sort of just work, and work. Well, within the emancipation process and the moving of black people from chattel into factories, there's also the development of a section of our society and a world by itself. And this world now has its own laws, it has its own history. It's a powerful world. And it's into this world that the African males were directed. When you go to the university and you begin to study about society and social things, they try to tell you that there are two societies. That there's a civil society and that there's a political society. It's a society divided into two areas. But I'm going to suggest to you, Adam, know that there is a third dimension that is not being mentioned much. So as much as we are looking into the political and the civil, there is a world called the world of sport. This is a world that has its own laws, its own history. It actually overlaps the civic and the political. And it may actually be the dominant world because it is about culture. It is almost like the world that bridges the civil society with political society. The world of culture, the world of games, the world of sport. So it's an important arena, and the African people have been the dominant forces in this particular arena for the last 100 years. Now I speak about sports in a way because it has a serious effect on the psyche of a people, as well as it can have an important effect on the economics, the economy. We're going to talk a little bit about the psyche first and the importance of sports onto the psyche of the people. Now we have to recognize again that at emancipation, the general population of African males were not educated, not trained in anything professional, but considered to be free because no longer on the plantation in chattels. So there was a need to develop economics. Now that had limitations because of lack of education, etc., etc. So the plantation organized itself to absorb the energies of the black males in the religion and sports. So those are the two areas. There are a lot of black men. The sporting arena now is the most dominant. And the Africans, the Jamaicans, the Trinidadians, whatever identity they gave us, We had only had ourselves, our bodies. Games and sport, of course, were set up for recreational purposes. The European had these games, and we got involved in these games, but simply as a source of providing entertainment for the same European plantation. So we were encouraged to be entertainers. Entertainers in music, entertainers in the play field. These are areas that are not threatening to the society. There's no way you're going to overthrow any regime if you're engaged in playing. So we've become excellent players. And we've become excellent at preaching. So if we look at the world of sports now as a arena where the black man is dominant as a performer, and it's an arena where quite a bit of money is made. In the Jamaican scenario now, the biggest field of sport that the Africans really rush into and turn it into money quickly was really athletics. Because the history is there, we are runners, the genetics has proven that we are sprinters, and we will be able to organize ourselves from our school level right to the Olympic level. And there's no question about our place in world history when it comes to athletics. So in that arena of sports, the African has proven himself to be, let us say, the best. There's also the side of another aspect of sport now. And these are the two areas that I want to touch onto that are problematic now in Jamaica. One is cricket, and the other one is football. We're going to give athletics a plus and a double plus. I want to leave it alone for a while. There's much room for improvement, particularly administratively. But in terms of performance and earnings, our brothers and sisters are making the most out of athletics at this moment. Cricket and football now has a different dimension. And these are sports that really resonate more in the heart of the people than athletics. Cricket has been a site of resistance for African people in the Caribbean, a site of resistance to racism, resistance to colonialism, resistance to all form of oppression. The cricket ground has been the site that the Africans have used to prove that they are not inferior and that, as a matter of fact, they could actually be the superior players. The West Indies cricket team has been the site of much pride for people in the Caribbean, because the West Indian cricketers were able to overcome the British, who were what they call the founders of the game. We were able to defeat them in England, defeat them in the Caribbean, transform the game from a little lollipop game into a war. Four-pronged attack, lick off man head, white man run up and down the place, black people feeling proud. So the cricket has been a site of much racial pride. Because in defeating the English and in defeating the Pakistans and the Australians and the Indians, we recognize that cricket is really a battle, a racial site, a site for racial dominance and superiority. And that's what sports allows. Sports allows an opportunity to establish superiority. Now, in the civil society and in political society, these are things that are not encouraged, because these societies tend to speak about equality and justice. But the world of sport has a different view on equality and justice, because in the world of sport, it's all about domination and superiority. So we have to recognize what is it that is achieved in this world, and how can we take things from that world and apply it to the civic world and the political world. How can African people use some of these achievements in this world of sports, and carry it over into civic society, carry it over into political society, and help to transform the whole place. The cricket now is at a very seedy position. Very, very seedy. What we had as a West Indian institution, a place where pride and race were prominent, much of that is gone now. Much of the cricket in the West Indies is about individuality and it's about making personal money. And there's no sign of any racial identification through cricket anymore in the Caribbean. This, of course, is not the same thing in England because the Englishman still defends himself as an Englishman. Same thing with the Pakistani, same thing with the Australian. But the man in the Caribbean no longer fights for his racial identity. Somehow we have been deceived to believe that race is not important anymore. That we are all now globalized into this one big village, into this raceless, faceless society. That is an illusion. For the first time in the history of Test cricket, the West Indies players have withdrawn themselves from a tour. And the implications are seismic. And it's just a reflection of the struggle in this region between players who were once considered to be workers and slaves and administrators who see themselves as owners and, governors of the plantation. There's always been a rift with money in sports in the Caribbean. There's a feeling, I think, that Caribbean sportsmen should not be paid. And they should remain in this sort of lollipop, amateur state of being when the entire world of sports is moving towards even deeper professionalism. So we have not caught up with the world. And the ideology is what is holding us back. There are a lot of men who are in the governance of sports in Jamaica who never play the sports, who enter the sports from a perspective of class and business. And they themselves bring their own class discriminations into sport. So the region is amateur, generally speaking. And the leadership is very amateur. And the future for West Indies cricket is really, from my perspective, a sort of one-day vibration. The thought process, to think and to play for 4 or 5 days, and to commit yourself to racial pride, I think it gone out of the West Indies cricket thing. There are those who are unwilling to let it go because that's what they know. They're going to try to rebuild it. But until we get race as a factor in the West Indies cricket, these players will simply play for the money. And when they lose, they simply lose. There is no pain in the loss anymore. The public feels the pain, but the public don't own the team. The public has no shares in the team. The team is governed by a set of men who do as they feel. And I tell you, tall men in Jamaica now, tall youths in high school, not thinking much about cricket anymore. The tall youths are thinking about the NBA. Because in the NBA, they see that it's a money game. In cricket, there is no visible money. And because money now is a force, that motive force, cricket is not only dying, it could very well be dead.
This is Styles FM.
Hey, are you ready? You ready? All right. All right, let's go. Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Yes, it's on a Saturday. Every Saturday morning, live on Styles 96.1, the People Station. Here's an invitation to join yours truly, Colin Anthony, the man with all the money, honey. The program is called Smooth Sailing. Every Saturday morning from 9 o'clock until 1 on the p.m. It's gonna be on Styles FM 96.1. Have you got a plan? Oh, you've got a plan? We've got a plan. Do remember to join us. Smooth Sailing.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
Reggae Boys 3. Antigua Barbuda 0. And so the psychology has been elevated. The psyche of the Jamaican people has been stimulated nationally because our reggae boys have achieved a long, long sought after victory. Yes. 3-0 over Antigua and Barbuda. Years ago, Antigua and Barbuda would not even been considered to be an opposition worthy of playing. Today we defeat them 3-0 and we have to celebrate. So we're going to explore how come we have to be celebrating a victory over Antigua and Barbuda. Where is our football that this becomes such an important victory?
Holy, holy, yes, it's a land of liberty. Yes, it's the land of the black, gold, and green.
Yeah, this is the land of the black, gold, and green, the land of Marcus Garvey, the land of Rastafari, the land of Bob Marley, the land of Paul Bogle, land of Merlin Atty, B.C. Campbell, Brown, land of tremendous potential in philosophy and sport. And in the realm of football now, but realize that this is the international game. The Americans call it soccer. I like the term soccer because it suggests that you're not only using your feet. A lot of youths in Jamaica hear the word football and don't realize that the game is also played with their brain. They think it is all foot. Now we have this great game that really captivates the world. It's the most popular game in the world. It's the most widely watched game in the world. And the world has 7 billion people, they say. We're talking about a game that is controlled by a body that has over 210 members. We're talking about a game that has the biggest international governing body. We're talking about a game that has the greatest size in terms of governance. So we look at the greatest game in the world, look at the most powerful organization that governs a sport, and it's called FIFA. International Football, the International Federation of Football Associations, FIFA. So when we talk about the world that we live in, and we are told that there is a civil society and a political society, there is also a vast sporting society. It's governed by the IOC, which is the Olympic Committee, and the FIFA, which is the football. And again, athletics and football are the driving forces in terms of sports. The African people now have gravitated towards these sports and have become the dominant players. In the Jamaican scenario now, football is a grassroots sport, introduced to us, of course, like all sports, through the British. Started out as an elitist framework where only the wealthy used to play, just like cricket. But once it was introduced into the secondary school system, a lot of the children of the poor now had access to these particular games. So through the school system in Jamaica, the picnic of the poor, black picnic, poor people picnic, start getting into the secondary schools and start beginning to get exposed to these games that were primarily at a recreational level. But because we are survivors, working towards living, we would find a way to transform these recreations into our livelihood. This wasn't really was the plan of the oppressor nor the plantation owner. That wasn't the plan. The plan that we would remain as strictly performers and that we would provide entertainment for these people continuously. But because of the revolutionary spirit and the originality of ourselves, always trying to reach up towards our kingliness and our divinity, sports now becomes a vehicle for transporting us out of economic impoverishment and into a different state of being. The sport now is a vehicle for transformation, for moving from one state of society to another, for social mobility. So in the secondary schools now, black people pick the star, roll the ball. Running, of course, I say was natural from early because we had to run for our lives. And the genetic makeup helped us to even run even faster. But the football now requires a whole different dimension. It requires coordination, requires teamwork, requires higher psychology, requires sociology, requires a philosophy, because you're building now a community of people. Football is a team game, unlike athletics, which we know is basically individual efforts outside of the relays. The football now is more demanding. It demands more fitness, it demands more organization, demands more money, demands more psychology. So our approach to football in Jamaica, basically recreational. But the talent here is so deep that at our schoolboy level, our players in the 60s looked like professional players. Standard of play at the school level in the 60s was equivalent to the football in Brazil at the under 20 level. And the evidence is when KC played the national Brazilian under 20 team and they barely beat us 3-1 in the national stadium. That was in the 60s. And that was the earliest sign that our schoolboy football was not far from the international stage. But we know that over the 60s and the 70s, a lot of football was played here, good club soccer, good football, no infrastructure, no really development of coaches. So we have a society of football loving people who love football, but there's a serious lacking now in the trainers of the game. The coaches are the absent figures now in the Jamaican football. Abundance of athletics, abundance of athletic players, abundance of technically decent footballers. Serious shortage in teachers. And you're going to have a problem if you have a large school with students with very few teachers in it. You're going to have a serious problem because a school is really about the teachers. Football development is really about coaching. And in Jamaica, we have had a psychology from the early 60s that Jamaican football don't need coaches because man, them born baller. And so Pele never have no coach. And we used to draw a kind of argument to justify this inefficiency, this deficiency that we had, that we choose to ignore. So we've been playing football in the country for 60s, 70s, and into the 80s without the important recognition of having trained coaches. We have had individuals now who like coaching, who have gone out to train themselves. We have had a lot of our coaches who have taken themselves abroad for international training. When they come home, there's really no system to absorb them because we haven't any space for coaches. So we have a coaching problem in Jamaica from the 60s. Our first overseas coach was a Haitian. For those of you who don't know, a man called Antoine Tassi. Because Haitian football has been superior to Jamaican football from the 50s throughout the 60s. We cannot forget Haiti's getting to the World Cup in 1974. So Haitian ball, higher than yard ball, from the 60s, from the 50s. So it is with the Cuban soccer. Cuba got to the World Cup in 32. So these are two nations that are far more advanced than Jamaica. In football, we can't say the same for athletics because we Jamaicans are the dominant in athletics. But it's a football, we're not there. But there's an illusion in the country that we are there. An illusion was created in 1994 to 1998. Because in that period, we had the blessings of the entire world and all synergies came together. And the Reggae Boys qualified for France. That was a major historical event. It is a apparently one-off event because the journey from 1994 to now has been a journey of failure. From 1998 to now has been one of failure. I want to look a little bit closer at the failure And where we are today now, and why we have to celebrate a 3-0 victory over Antigua. Okay, so we're looking at this football journey now, and why is it we have to be celebrating a victory of this nature after we have been to the World Cup in 1998? Why do we now celebrate a victory over Antigua and Barbuda? Why? How we get to that level? Well, you know, football is a science. International football is an art and a science. And if you're going to develop art and science, you need teachers. And we seem to have a funny belief here that football is a game where players dominate. So in 1994, we hired the Brazilian Simoes, and Simoes came, and Simoes got the full support of the country, both political parties, Jamaicans abroad, Jamaicans everywhere on the planet came together, musicians, artists. It is the first event since emancipation that brought the entire nation into one place and together. Since emancipation and independence in 1962. The Reggae Boys campaign, and note it was a campaign that lasted a period of 4 years. We had a good climax, got into the World Cup, scored a goal, eventually even win a match. So that was our thing up to 1998. And the whole world and the Jamaican population expected upward movement from 1998. The people expected a progression. Now, when you examine the progression that was anticipated, you find that much of it was not made. One of the areas that was desperately needed to be improved was what we're going to call infrastructure. Infrastructure is both human and infrastructure is physical. At the physical level of infrastructure, there is no sign of any new venues since 1998. There's no construction of any international sized football fields since 1998. So in the terms of physical, nothing much has been done across the entire island. When we look at human infrastructure, we look at the coaches, we look at the managers, and we find that the managers in the first place are men of business. They come from the business world, and they have experience in managing business, not the management of footballers. And footballers are not objects that are sold in business places. Footballers are people. And so to manage footballers, you need psychology and philosophy and the various disciplines of human behavior. These men who enter football as managers have no clue about those fields. No clue whatsoever. But they come with their money and their class behavior. And they begin to impose these things, what they call rules, on the football. And so the football now in Jamaica now is being heavily governed from the top. With men of sponsorship and money. And these men have no clue about football. They try to impose how footballers must walk, how footballers must dress, how they must speak. And they try to bring their classisms on the hooligans and the ghetto people who play football. Now, I only say that to say that football is not really an elitist sport. Football is considered a hooligan game. Football is a game where it requires fighting spirit. And so the players who come from adverse conditions tend to survive better in football because it's about struggle, it's about upliftment, and it's about motivating yourself and lifting the community, etc. The football in Jamaica lacks physical infrastructure and it lacks human infrastructure. Those who govern the football now don't really have much interest in those two areas. It would appear that the governance of football in Jamaica just into the money. Money was introduced to the football during the 1994 World Cup campaign. Much money. Much money. And it seemed as if it kind of licked the man them head. And those men who were benefiting from the money seem to have forgotten that it was a football that put them in the position. The footballers now are being told in 2014 that they cannot make the Jamaican national team. The footballers in 2014 are being told that they're not good enough as the players who play in Europe or the MLS. So our local players that were the foundation of the 98 team are now the castaways. The motivation to play national football in Jamaica has been diminished 100%. And this is primarily because of the attitude of the governance. We're telling the population in Jamaica now and our footballers that it's professional footballers must play for reggae boys now. Professionals first. The tragedy behind that is that Jamaica has no professional football. So how will the Jamaican players locally get into this professional reggae boys team when they are amateurs? The thing we want to sort out. And we're going to continue to look at it. Metamorphosis, greetings.
They teach us to condemn because they don't want us to have any more fun.
Say it again, come again.
Our nation.
We're not hearing the eye, speak up again.
Hey, say live and direct.
Yeah, man, you're on the air, you know. You're live and direct. What the man say? All right.
Teach us to condemn because they don't want us to have any more fun. To be fruitful and multiply and build our nation.
All right.
Blood flowing straight through the middle section. Babylon, the colonialism, and the colonizers always have them plan to keep on the powerless one. It go add to it, plus don't take away. The love how me have it now go astray. The love how me have, I have to stay.
That's not style. Ari? Isis. Metamorphosis. We just get some voices there and a few verses. All right. Styles FM, Metamorphosis, coming in.
Yes, Rasta and Nasta, the call drug.
Ah, yeah, we'll call up again. The man was reading some verses. Irie?
I'm man in kind of truth. You want time and come forward with it?
Yeah, man, run it man.
Okay. I say them teach us to calm it down because they don't want us to have any more fun. To be fruitful and multiply and build our nation with the blood flowing straight through the middle section. The colonizers always have them plan to keep down the powerless ones. So add to it, plus don't take away. They love what me have. They love what me have. They have to stay. Man-made religion and it causes a division. And that is minus and subtraction. With a lot of friction and discrimination cause a lot of destruction. I'm going to leave it right there. And I'll complete it.
All right. Well, the mind of the thinkers will complete it.
So is there in greatness, my brother?
All is well, my brethren. All is well. And we just try to push the knowledge through that one can be motivated to think. It's just thinking with part of encouraging Afrocentric perspectives, So, yeah, Harry?
I just said,
oh, the man.
give thanks to be a part of Metamorphosis. I'm going to give thanks to be a part of Metamorphosis,
Yes, sir. And where are you calling from?
Yeah, man. Oh, yes, my brother.
Where are you calling from?
Rasta and Nasta, man.
Yeah, man, but the people want to know where you're calling from. I tell them. Old York. Then that's the same, man. That's what I know, where the eye there. Because the eye could have put Antonio, you know.
So, you forget your eye, man.
No, I don't forget. I don't forget, the people don't know.
Up in your eye, man, in your stamping ground where the eye did rest up,
Yes, I. The eye in the apple.
All right. Upper Lehman side.
Upper Lehman ends. Wow. I see you're placing them on.
Them not tell us your stamping ground, man.
Yes, I. All right. Heal all the people in the Bronx.
Yeah, man.
All the people in the tri-state area.
Gotcha.
Rastafari.
Yeah, man. So the sister, you see, the sister now, the sister is a powerful sister, you see, man.
I think so.
That a king man can't really deal with fear power.
Well, she have a king man, so him look like him know him, I do.
Oh, I know, because it's the second time you brought her forward.
All right.
Yeah, I know of her, because she was there before, and the king man was in the background, and
boy, the man have everything. The man have everything documented.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Harry, give thanks. And we're going through.
Before the eye start mentioning some things, and the eye mentioned the same thing where I was going to ask the eye about the football playing today and the football in the 60s and the 70s.
All right.
The early 80s.
Yes. I'll go and flesh it out.
The eye touch fan, because me and the virgin are reason up today about the same thing, and I said, seriously, no ball now play.
Yeah, man, the ball gets stagnant, Yeah. Well, we'll try to go through it and explore and expand, and maybe we'll find in our brains the way to change it up and get it into that format that we know,
Yes, my brother.
All right, so we're going through.
It's a privilege to speak to you. It's an privilege to speak to you, Just give me love to Asabur and the cunning one,
All right, Rasma Kunin. Love I.
And all the one in cyberspace and the radio land,
Seen.
All right, love to you.
Positive.
All right.
I see. Metamorphosis. Greetings.
Yeah. That's not a New York artist,
All right, coming out of the apple.
Huh?
Yeah, man, you're coming out of the apple pan way.
Yeah, you cannot chip out a bit. Maybe I should have called back because I'm not
I can hear you, though, you know. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, you touched on the football regarding the 94-98 period.
Yes.
Where that culminated in Jamaica getting to the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people in Jamaica don't realize that the seed for that culmination was not started in 1994. You know, the seeds were actually planted before, like about in the early 90s.
Right.
You know, by the previous administration.
Tony James administration.
Huh?
Tony James administration.
Yeah. But you know, but all the credit has been deflected to the administration of the 94-90. It kind of remind me of Predia Larson, you know. usually the man who the farmer who sowed the seed don't get the credit, you know. The man who come on the road and sell it out and get it from somebody else, get the credit.
Yes. But you see, we also have a problem with documentation, so we don't really hold the history written, you know. That's a part of the problem, you know. But I agree with you totally that the foundation set even before 1990, it set from the 60s.
Right.
You know, because you can't build a road to France without digging out certain foundation and setting. You can't build a road for nothing, right?
Well, you know, and you go back to the 60s, you know, the seeds were planted in the 60s, you know, and manifested, but then in the 80s, due to several factors, it tumbled down. To the point where we couldn't even enter a World Cup. You know?
Right. Well, we know that the 80s was a sort of reversal of the 70s.
Yeah.
A lot of things were reversed in the 70s.
But everything came back on stream again, you know, through the efforts of the Tony Jameses and the deals of this world.
Yes, sir. Totally.
At the time.
The T got Davis them and the Corbett and the man them who was playing for nothing.
Yeah, so we Jamaicans must realize how those guys built up the local ball in such a way where I remember, I think one of them we mentioned about so many high school players graduating from the Casa Cup and Manning Cup and don't have a football profession to look forward to.
Yeah.
Back in the early 90s, a lot of guys were making good living out of football, and that gave rise to the successes of the Reggae Boys, because those guys who eventually morphed into the Reggae Boys program, they had the incentive to work on the craft.
Yes, man, and there was a passion, there's a sort of patriotism in the system at that time.
Right.
Which seemed to be seriously lacking in this time. So we started trying to find go through.
Yeah, so fast forward 20 years now, 15, 20 years now, we don't see that happening. So, you know, and I will maintain that it probably will be another generation if it happens in our lifetime for us to get to that World Series again.
I'm not so far away from how I thinking, because the World Cup is not a place just to go because you want to go, you know, and nobody's going to just allow you to go to the World Cup because you're new. I think we experienced the novelty of us qualifying was part of the whole psyche. You know, I think the novelty has worn off now from 98, 2002, 2006, 2010, 2014. And like I say, we don't so sure if we will ever really get a sniff again, you know? I'm not so sure. But we're going to work at it. And I think the essence is about restructuring from the base up. You know, and sort of giving schoolboy players a better vision of where they can go with their craft. But right now it's all about getting into college football. There's no vision for the national program. So something needs to be reorganized in that line, you know?
Right.
So we give thanks for the I-Link from Fardo, you know?
Yeah, man. Because it's not everybody we can have the wherewithal to get to the college
You see what I mean now?
I call it campaign for the
You see what I mean now? So what about the guys the youth who play like junior high school football, who don't have the ISA vibration? You know, because we have a lot of boys who play football. We have a lot of boys who play football who the country don't recognize it, you know, because we don't recognize the junior high school league and the all-age league yet, you know. There's a whole heap of youths play that, you know. So we haven't even begin to even tap.
Yeah, but the system is such that someone who's a good player in a junior high school, you know, some high school will see him and will work into the system. So,
well, hopefully.
You know.
Hopefully. But maybe we need to do more scouting at that, in those competitions. Yeah. More than just thinking that all players...
I'm going to see somewhere.
Yes, sir. Give thanks to the link. Yes, sir. All right.
Cool.
There's so much trouble in the world, but in the world of sport is a different world, and there is also trouble in the world of sport. And in the world of sport is trouble, you know, the population not so relaxed, you know, because it is really the distraction that sport provides that takes away the agony of the civic society and the economics and the various forms of distress that we face. So when there is disruption in the world of sport, man, we're on the edge of something serious. Because sports is an absorber. There are people in the society who live for their sporting teams. There are people around the world who the first place they look in a newspaper is the sports page. It's not a Jamaican thing, no, it's a global thing. Because sports is not just ramping, you know. Sports is a sort of connection to your emotion. Anything that pulls on your emotion has an effect on you. So people turn to sports for relief. They rather read the sports page and see heroic events and read about failures and near failures and successes, and it's a motivating arena. And when they don't read the sports, them turn the front page to say who kill who, which politician rob who, where money lacking, and we see that the world is in a total disorder. Sports is a serious arena, but the Africans must become a serious people in the world of sports. Or think about not just being players and entertainers now. How do we become owners of industry? How do we transform our performances into the levels of ownership? NBA, no black man don't own no NBA team yet. No black people don't own any NFL team yet. No black people don't own any baseball team yet. How we're not owning these teams, but we're owning all of the records? We're making the records, but we're not making the capital out of the environment. So when we forward to the football now, as the Virgin said, our football has been a high standard football internationally based on our schoolboys, 60s and 70s. Jamaica is the only country, and I say it over and over again, we're the only country that is belonging to FIFA, whose schoolboy football is the dominant football in the country. The only country. And I say it again, we are the only country in the world where schoolboy football takes precedence to club football. Where schoolboys can see them names in the newspaper and pictures. High school, you know, secondary school. Make headline. Big picture. This is not, it doesn't have anywhere else in the world. Because other places in the world have higher level football that is already competing for space. So we have an anomaly here. I hear him interview a coach a couple of days ago and ask him why him side lose after leading 2-0. Him say, it's an anomaly. So the brother asked him, so what do you mean? Him say, it's an anomaly. And I think that's a word him probably going to look up and say it mean something else and just throw it out. But the whole idea of our school players being the dominant players has been a part of the Jamaican makeup for the last 100 years. The Intersecondary School Sports Association, called ISA, they are the governing body now for our schoolboy football. And this body now has to be running the football from an educational perspective. No, I don't understand how it works, because right now we have a serious issue with a team that withdrew its strongest team and took a 12 love in order to play a next match where they could win $1 million. We'll soon get to that. The coaching in the football, the money in the football, introduced in 1994 without much order. And everybody suddenly wanted to get paid to play. Everybody became professionals in 1994-98. At the end of the 98 campaign, the country was left on a high note with the desire to return to the World Cup again. I figure it's maybe like a cocaine shot. You get a lick and you want to go back there again. Football, however, works out of systematic frameworks. The World Cup is the highest stage. The top 32 teams are allowed to get there, or fight their way there. Top 32 teams in the world. To get there, you have to go through 2 years of eliminations before you get into that situation. Jamaica, unfortunately, have been locked into a meditation that you get to the World Cup by preparing every 2 years. In other words, when the World Cup is finished, you start prepare again for the next World Cup. We may be the only country who get locked into that cycle. The World Cup is a preparation that starts from under 12 if you want to be at the World Cup and be there consistently. It takes a national effort every year to get to the World Cup and stay there. So once we qualified for the World Cup in 98, the world backed off and left Jamaica on their own. We were supported by every organization to get to the 98 World Cup. Supported by FIFA. Supported by CONCACAF. The World Cup had opened up to 32 teams. And FIFA, in their effort to globalize the game, were encouraged that a small island could make the stage. The small islanders now, with their small island brain, think it's because them so powerful why them reach on them own. So when the World Cup was over at 98, all forces returned to normal. Which means that if you want to qualify for the next World Cup, you better come from square one. Well, it's a Jamaican football. It was never really set up to function from square one. It was set up on a sort of, as the Virgin said, there was a foundation set by Tony James. They were committed players who were patriotic and were willing to play without money. There was that cultural aspect to our football where we were able to wear red, green and gold, and Rastafari could be able to come out and merge with the football. It became a cultural unity. We saw more red, green and gold flag in the stadium than black, green and gold. We saw Rastafari emerge as a driving force behind the reggae boys. The team got its name because of the reggae music that was played in Zambia. And the Zambians saw the players and say, "Welcome, reggae boys." So when you look at the history now, the cultural history of the reggae boys in the 1998 campaign, we begin to see the disappearance of that culture from 2000 onwards. The culture begins to diminish. The Rastafari presence seems to be no longer necessary anymore because the reggae boys have gotten to the World Cup. Our local players now are no longer so important because they are mercenary players who are willing now to play for the reggae boys. And the people who sit in the governance with no consciousness just make the thing just run. They begin to ignore the local players. They begin to talk about you have to have English league background. You're going to hear all sorts of discrimination against local players. Them not fit, and them not this, and that, them not that. All right. We hear that the coaches in Jamaica are not equipped to carry the team to the national level. because of this and because of that. So the Jamaican football now is geared for overseas, both the players and the coaches. So Rene Simoway comes and he works a wee bit of magic, plenty of psychology, set the JLP against the PNP and get everything the reggae boys need. Anything the PNP wouldn't give him get it from the JLP. Or you realize how the Jamaican society work. It says a PNP, JLP society, each of them trying to prove that they're better than the other. None of them really looking out for the value of the country. Simoway played the politics, got what he wanted. National effort, reggae boys reach France. Simoway is put under pressure, even by the local coaches. There's jealousy and there's grudgefulness and all kind of bad talk. And Simoway leaves and he goes to Brazil. And now there's a fight for leadership. The governance thinks that the country can't advance unless the governance thinks that the country will not advance if we leave the Brazilian model. So the Brazilians send a next coach. FIFA send him. I just can't remember where the man name. A big international coach comes after Simoway. And him stay for about 3 or 4 months. He complain that the players are not available and him leave. And they go to another Brazilian coach, Olivier. And they try with him. And him don't go nowhere with the program. 2004, 2006. We're going all over the world searching for coaches. We're locked into Brazil. We bring all kind of amateur Brazilians here to build up them CV. And they come and they do nothing with the Reggae Boys program. We draw for Johnny Barnes. We draw for Whitmore. We draw for all kind of people to coach the national team. And the results are the same. Because there's a misconception. There's the illusion that football will be saved. It's a messiah concept. It's a religious Christian mentality, thinking that a messiah is the answer to our football. And the messiah must come in the form of a coach. So there's no attempt to send our coaches abroad for international training. No attempt. We send the players abroad for training and they come back as internationals and the coaches stay home as amateurs. How can amateur coaches train overseas internationals? There is no attempt to build a coaching staff here. So the coaches must build themselves, but at the same time, the governance has no confidence in the local coaches. So you see the football now, where the football is in 2014, is at its lowest ebb, lowest level. The desperation has moved us out of South America now, and we're now in the hands of the Germans. We're in the hands of a coach called Winfried Schäfer. Schäfer had experience in the Cameroons, so there's some assumption that Africans are Africans all over the place, but Jamaicans are Jamaicans. Jamaicans are not Cameroonians, and we are some different people. Yeah, we're different. And we play a ball game different, and we have a different attitude. As far as I can see, at this moment, we are now in the Caribbean tournament. This coach has been given much resources to prepare this team. We have played several international games. This is always a cry, that we're not getting enough matches. So the coach gets a series of matches, and we get a series of beating. I, as a man who understands coaching, feeling a little bit hurt about the results, couldn't take it too serious because I know that it's a preparation. People, the real tournament has begun. Now, the president of the federation has said it in more ways than one, that if the Jamaican team does not win this tournament, then the coach will have to go. Now, if we do not win it, and the coach goes, where then is our national program? Would not that be also be the time for the leadership to also go? So much trouble in Jamaican football. Well, this is the situation now. The Jamaican team has played 2 games in this competition so far. First match was a draw with Martinique. The crowd was not impressed. Nobody was impressed with the national team effort. It looked pedestrian, disjointed, it not look like a national football. It look like some clubman who lose them way. The coach, of course, claimed that he was okay, satisfied with the draw, and tells you that Brazil were the hosts of the tournament, World Cup, and they lost. That Japan was a host and they lost, and Germany gives the whole history of World Cup countries who host it and lose it, suggesting that if we lose, it's no big deal. But then better wake up, because the holiday going done if we lose. It's not a very good situation that his tenure is depending upon winning this tournament. But it's because of how Jamaican football is set up and how them psychologically organize it. If the team does not win this, then all those preparation matches would have been in vain. If we cannot win the Caribbean tournament, we already ranked 113 and falling. So if this is a failed campaign, then the coach would have failed, the federation would have failed, and perhaps that would have been, must be the sign for the federation to call it a day. Because we can't go for another foreign coach. We're not interested in the Jamaican coaches. So the federation is what would have to go. So the final game in this tournament for Jamaica, the important match now is the match against Haiti coming up. And as I said to you earlier, Haiti is a big side. And if the Jamaicans can't get past Haiti, then the football campaign is over. If we get past Haiti, then we are into the final. And then the real final would define who wins the competition. But the first stage must be to get to the final. And if we can't get to the final, then what is the purpose of playing international football in Jamaica?
Watch them wondering when me fly down far. We step on the beast and kick down with him like a slide down bar. We burning the system, but tell the youths when we fight come far. Uplifting me sister, tell us still I see I love star. We don't want it, Babylon the system falling. But this is just the beginning, beginning of the grand finale. Finale because eventually we get the call. So if we stand up tall and if we gang up cause united, we stand divided, we fall and we love. Whoa. Walk with the prince of peace, till I see you the leader. Praise be to the kings of kings, Alpha and Omega. Hear your children say, oh, till I see you the leader. Alpha and
Yes, this Empress D. Deal, we see your text and you think that is really important that the African, that be a healing church, a healing center for African women. Yes, MBU, your support is growing and it shall become real.
Then you have the other city, come give me gun fish shoot. And I chat all you like the city, well this is the ugly truth. When you bring all the guns, come give me give it to my recruit. Big revolution, when time the guns them turn for the old politician. Where bring it come in the first place, I should have found education. We make the youth them learn, instead of by ammunition. And you want come run the next term, go run up under your bed, boy. Put your hand on your head, me terrible and me dread, corrupted politician fit dead, boy. Want to coral that, don't have to valley garden. Coming like a pre every garden, no revolution, reach every garden. Go put this up in the gleaner, me want it reach every reader. If you not live like Haile Selassie, you're not fit for big and its leader. Ooh, walk with. And I dread and terror upon them. Hey. Good God of face, Lord will, I have his mercy. Hey. I'm Mr. Old Slave Driver. Time is catching up on you. Old Slave Driver. I know you sins them are on. So carry we go home. I bring the runner east. Well, come on a rasta.
It is we here in Chronics and the notion of capture land, I want to just say this about the football and the need for football fields. We're having this great infrastructure problem of football fields, and we talk about who was responsible for building fields. And I'm saying to them now, there's so much land in Jamaica. Church land, crown land, rich people land. Yet African people have been put on places that them calling capture land. You see, in order to build football fields across this nation, we have to engage a very important institution called the JDF. JDF full of engineers and able with resources. So, you see, if we talk about national building and partnerships, the JDF must be part of the building campaign for building stadiums across the country. Yeah, man, we use our own resources and put one international stadium in each confederation. Yeah, the JDF, building of engineers. So we could build some stadium on what I want to call capture land. We could build some stadium right across the island.
Watch them pan it up at the hill and looking at them later we properly feel because downtown have shut off the kill. Them tell it tourists if we stop on the grill. So come make we start a new chapter. We not escape on the land where them capture. And me say Africa fi all to Rasta. I so go tell it and 2 plus factor say carry we go home. I bring we run a east way. Come on a Rasta man, a Rasta no live and no capture land. Go tell them carry we go home.
And this a protege,
Yeah, man, healing up all those who have been part of the Metamorphosis. Give thanks to MBU for passing through and empowering our African females and bringing consciousness to the African kings. Yes, the women have the knowledge and they are here to share it. And the health healing, I think, is vital. Yeah, African women have to heal, need healing. And when the woman is healed, the man will be in a better position and the nation will be on its feet again. Healing up all my night nurse friends, all the taxi driver them, all the people them who move by night and work, keep societies going. Yes, policemen, those who are protectors and supporters of the system, of the law and order. Because we know the other type of policemen who are part of the underworld. So we're linking up positively with all the energies who thinking liberation. Far out and far in, down under, and right here in Port Antonio.
To be chilling in the West Indies, I provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Green leaves, yeah.
When the rain pits up at on the roof, herb just a steam pepper pot on the stew. Life is a dream if you got gratitude, so go tell the regime them can't stop where we do now. Information you think on your own, or else you're a slave to the things that you know. What do you know if you learn every day? So be careful of things where you say.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I just go where the trade wind blows, sending love to
Straight up into the Bronx. This one going right into the Bronx.
to be chilling in the West Indies. I provide all my wants and needs. I got the sunshine, rivers and trees. Green leaves.
Africa in our soul, but a Jah in our heart. It is of importance for I and I gather. If we cannot show now a balance as we are, how do we propose then to carry it abroad?
I stand strong in a Babylon. I stand strong in a Babylon. I stand strong in a Babylon. I stand strong in a Babylon.
Hail again all people in Port Antonio, Janga Gully. Hail up the man in Janga Gully and no daughters there and free school and Port Antonio in general. Yes, community of Norwich and all the places that surround this wonderful little town. The town dig up, the town wet up, the town miserable go through, but I tell you them so it's with vision and patience. In another 24 months, this could really be a fantastic city town. But we have to go through some rough things now, I tell you. Some wall is stepping on some things, and it's like a hazard course out there. Anyway, you walk today, you can't walk tomorrow, you know, so you can't just come out of your house, you know, you better think it out and meditate it out. Put it rough now, you know. Put it tough now, but it can also be a beautiful place in a very short span of time. There's coordination and cooperation. There's one thing the white man has mastered that we have failed significantly to achieve. He has mastered the art of competition, which we are very good at. What he has also mastered is the art of cooperation, which we are terrible at. And this is where we need to work. Or to cooperate, and cooperation begins at the level of the gender. If we begin to cooperate with the woman, and the woman needs to be in cooperation with the man. And collectively, there will be a rebirth and a resurrection of the African nation. Rastafari, I know.
We are going. This brother, gold and green train. Oh yes, we are golden. We are golden.
We are going, but we are not gone. Metamorphosis. Cassidy in the studio. Mbu was here. You are there. And Iman is here. Peace unto the ones and ones. Prosperity in the workplace, in the schools, at home, in your personal relation. Prosperity, good health, and wealth. Iman Black out.
This is Styles FM 96.1 on your FM dial.